Hi guys, welcome to the Unit 2 review. Just a reminder, you will be given a 2-question assignment and you will have to score a 100 on it in order to retake the Unit 2 test in Schoolology. But both of those questions are going to come straight from this video, so make sure that you watch and you take notes. All right, let's get to the first question. So simplify the following expression, and we need to use order of operations. So I went ahead and put the order of operations over here. Remember, it's PEMDAS, or parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. And I color-coded them. So let's look first. Let's see if we have any parentheses. And in this case, we don't. So parentheses is done. All right, next we look for exponents, and we don't have any exponents, so that's done. Now, the reason multiply and divide are both in green is because those are actually the same step. So you just go in order as you find them. So the first thing I see is a divide. So I'm going to go ahead and divide negative 30 divided by 5. I'm going to just bring this regular 30 straight down. Negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6. And then I'm going to bring everything else straight down. Now I've done the divide, but I'm still on this step because then I have to also check for multiply. And there is multiplication too. So I'm going to go ahead and do that multiplication. Notice I did not have to multiply before I divide because those are in the same steps. You just have to do whichever one comes first. So negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. So I'm going to bring that 30 straight down. Then my negative 12. Wow, this is frozen. Then my plus 10. All right, so I've done the multiply and divide step. So now I'm on to the add and subtract step. And again, you don't have to add before you subtract. Those are the same steps. You just go in order. So the first thing I'm going to do is 30 minus 12. And then I'm going to add 10 to that. I just bring in my plus 10 straight down. And then I'm going to go ahead and add those together. So in this case, my final answer is 28, following the order of operations. Okay, so we have another order of operations problem. So let's go through our steps again. The first one is parentheses. We do have parentheses here, so we need to go ahead and take care of that parentheses. 2 plus 8 is 10. So I'm going to bring everything else straight down. 3 times 4 squared minus 2. And then in the parentheses, we solved and got 10. Next, we have exponents. And we do have an exponent here, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. 4 squared is 16. So I'm going to write everything else down where it belongs. Whoops, that's got weird. So the 3 times 16 minus 2 times 10. All right, for our next steps, we have multiply and divide. And remember, those are in the same step. So you just do whichever one comes first. And in this case, we have 3 times 16 first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll get 48. And then I also have negative 2 times 10. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll get negative 20. All right, there's no division here, so we're done with the multiply and divide step. So we're going to move on to add and subtract. And here we can subtract 48 minus 20, and we get 28 as our final answer. All right. Let's move along. It says you are going to a movie with a couple friends and purchase everyone's ticket online ahead of time. You spend a total of $72 for the tickets. How many tickets did you purchase if the tickets cost $9 each? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is write a one-step equation for this problem. All right, so let's go back and see what we have. We know we purchased tickets for everyone. We know the total is 72, and we know each ticket costs $9. What we don't know is how many friends. So we're going to let the number of friends be X because we don't know how many friends there are. And anytime you're writing an equation, we know that it's always going to equal the total. Since you spent $72 total, I'm going to write that that equals the total. And then for the tickets, we don't know how many friends we are, but we know that each ticket costs $9. So if we take 9 times the number of friends, that should equal the total. So there's our equation. That's for part A. Part B says to solve the equation. All right, when I solve equations, I like to draw a line down the equal sign and find my letter. Whatever's on the same side of the letter, I want to get rid of. Since 9's on the same side as x and it's 9 times x, I need to do the opposite. So the opposite of multiplying by 9 will be to divide by 9. But whatever I do to this side, I also have to do to the other side. 9 divided by 9 is 1, that goes away. And then 72 divided by 9 is 8. That tells me, and it says to write your answer in a complete sentence, so that tells me that I am taking 8 friends. It says, how many tickets did you purchase? So you can either say, I'm taking 8 friends, or you could say, I purchased 8 tickets. You can leave your sentence as simple as that, or you can make it a little more detailed and say, I purchased 8 tickets at $9 each for a total of $72. Now, your sentence does not have to be that long. It just needs to be a complete sentence answering the question. All right, the next question, what is the solution? So again, we're solving an equation. I like to draw my line down the equal sign and find my letter. Whatever's on the same side as the letter needs to be gone, needs to get rid of. So since we have a minus 11, the opposite of subtracting is adding. So I'm going to, oh, where did I get 12 from? I'm losing my mind. Ha! Oops, how do I get back to my pen? What is happening? So because we have minus 11, we're going to add 11 to each side. The negative and positive 11 cancel. We'll bring our y straight down. And 11 plus 7 is 18. So that is our solution. Which property is shown? Okay, so what we did, we had 6 times and then parentheses 4 times 5. And then it equals parentheses 4 times 5 times 6. All we did was we switched the order. The 6 was in the front to begin with, and now the 6 is in the back. So let's look at all of our properties. I'm going to kind of start at the bottom. In order to distribute, you would have to take that 6 and you would have to actually distribute it and multiply it times each thing in the parentheses. So it's not distributive property. Identity property is whenever you multiply something times 1. So it's not identity property. I'm going to go up here to the associative property. Associative property is when you change who you associate with or like who you hang out with. So if we think about it in math, if we had changed what was in our parentheses, like in this first part, 4 times 5, those are hanging out together. Those are grouped together. If we had changed who was grouped together and we had had like 6 times 4 was hanging out and then 5 was on the end, that would be the associative property because you're changing who you associate with or who your group of friends are. Since the grouping didn't change, the grouping stayed the same both times, this is actually the commutative property. And the commutative property just says that you can switch the order that you multiply things in and they will still be equal. So what is the solution? It's an equation. I'm going to draw my line, box off my letter. I need to get rid of the divided by 6 because it's on the same side as x, and the opposite of dividing by 6 is multiplying by 6. So I'm going to multiply each side by 6. That makes those 6's cancel, leaving me with just x. And negative 5 times 6 is negative 30. Below is an example of the distributive property, true or false. Okay, so remember the distributive property means that you have to distribute or you have to send that 3 to everything inside your parentheses. It's just like the mailman distributes mail. It goes to every house in the neighborhood. So in the distributive property, you have to distribute the 3 to all of them. So if we did the distributive property correctly, we would have to do 3 times 7, and we would have to do 3 times 9, because we would distribute that 3 to both of them. Here, they did not distribute correctly, so that is false. Translate the following sentence into an equation. Okay, this says 10 less than a number is 6. So I'm going to go ahead and make some notes here. Less than usually means subtract. A number usually means x since we don't know it. Is always means equal. So we have 10 less than a number is negative 6. So when I go to write this equation, I know that is -6 means it's going to equal -6. Now this part's a little bit tricky. 10 less than a number. Our natural tendency is just to write it in the order it comes and say 10 minus x. But that's actually not correct because we want 10 less than the number. So if the number is x, we want 10 less than that, which means we have to subtract 10 off of that number. So that one's a little bit tricky, but you actually have to switch the order in order to get the correct equation. Which symbol will make this number sentence true? So I know you can't do the drop-down menu here, but we're trying to tell if they're equal than, greater than, less than, or greater than, equal to, or less than, equal to. So in this case, we have a -4 and a -8. Those definitely aren't equal. We just need to take our inequality, also known as an alligator mouth in my mind. The alligator mouth always wants to eat the bigger number because that's what alligators do. So I just have to decide if -4 is bigger or -8 is bigger. So if you think about your number line, anything that's going to the right is going to be bigger, right? And anything that's going this way is going to be smaller. So if we just plot these, I have a -4 here, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a -8 here. -4 is going to be bigger because it's more to the right. So I want the alligator mouth to eat the bigger number. So I'm going to do the greater than symbol. Okay, again, it says which symbol makes the number sentence true. So we got to do a little bit of simplifying over here. The absolute value of -8, the absolute value of anything is the distance from 0, and so the absolute value is always positive. So just inside these absolute value bars, that will become a +8. But I can't leave this little sucker off. I got to bring that negative sign straight down. So when I simplify this, I'm trying to figure out the relationship between -8 and -8. And clearly those two are equal. So the symbol there would be equal to. All right, we want to simplify this. I'm just going to go ahead and do order of operations. There's no parentheses, there's no multiplying, there's no exponents, no multiplying or dividing. So we're just going to add and subtract in order. So we're going to do -2 plus -4. That would give me -6. And then we're going to add 6 to that, and so it would equal 0. Another simplified question. So here we go. Since there's no sign between these two, that actually means that we're multiplying. Again, here there's no sign, so that's multiplication. And here, that's multiplication. So here we go. -2 times -4, that's going to give us a +8. I'm just going to bring that sign straight down. 5 times -2 is going to be a -10. I'm going to bring this sign straight down. 6 times -5 is going to be a -30. Now I need to do a little bit more work to kind of clean this up a little bit. 2 negatives make a positive, so I'm going to go ahead and switch that to a positive sign. And then 8 plus 10 is 18. Plus -30. So that, let's see, 18 minus 30. Turn on my calculator. And y'all, you can always put these straight in your calculator. Don't ever, ever, ever be afraid to use your calculator. I live by my calculator. I think it's extremely helpful. Okay, what is the solution? So we need to draw our line down our equal sign and find our letter. Right now we have -5 times a, which means we need to do the opposite. So instead of multiplying by -5, we need to divide each side by -5. Those would cancel. And -15 divided by -5 would leave us with a +3. And now the last question, which property is shown? So to begin with, we have 3 and 7 grouped together, and then +4. And then on the other side of the equal sign, we have 3 by himself, and then 7 plus 4 together. Basically what happened is the groups changed. They changed who they associated with. So that is the associative property. All right, guys. I hope you took some notes. You can go back and rewatch this video as many times as you need to. Make sure you go to Schoolology Take the 2-question assignment to unlock your retake, and then do that retake in Schoolology. Good luck.